When people talk about Nadal's game, they all mention the incredibly heavy and high RPM lefty forehand, his exceptional ability to cover the court and win points that seemed lost, and his incredible never-give-up mentality. And although these are probably his strongest features, I wanted to ask you to give us a ranking of the other aspects of his game. Well, backhand number one, because it's the most important, especially with the forehand that Rafa possessed. If players were able to just be like, Nadal forehand, no thanks, and just like force the ball meekly into Nadal's backhand over and over again, and if Rafa's backhand wasn't good enough to deter players from doing that, and to actually do things that were disruptive enough to force errors off of his backhand and better yet, get the ball back to his forehand, Rafa would not have been the same player. The most underrated part of his backhand, in my opinion, is the versatility with it, where he could look at a matchup, figure out what bothered his opponent, and whatever that was off of his backhand, he would be able to do it. He changed directions extremely well off of that two-hander. He was very good at introducing height. He was good at taking away height. He had a good backhand slice. He could pull you wide with the short cross-court angle. He could inject more pace through the middle. Tons of variety, not to mention defends so well off of it. That was, of course, crucial. And it was as consistent as his forehand. At times, more consistent than his forehand. The depth on Rafa's backhand, better than the depth off of his forehand. So backhand number one. Number two, it's hard for me to separate some of these things, right? It's basically continental grip play. Volleys, drop shot, slice, they're all ancestors. And yeah, I'm very much inclined to just call it continental grip play. And then third is his serve. His serve does not hold up to the same standards as the other things that we talk about with Nadal. He was a very smart server. He'd use the lefty spin in very savvy ways, not just the ability to pull the right-hander out wide to the backhand, but also the ability to, slide it into the forehand hip of the right-hander. And that was actually a really underrated, excellent serve. Leftiness really helped him in this category because it was very difficult for right-handers to hit backhand returns that were good enough to avoid Nadal's +1 forehand. I mean, on the ad side, in order to find the backhand, you're asking a righty to change direction off of a lefty serve into the backhand, which means oftentimes you're being asked to change direction off of a ball that has a lot of movement, a lot of action, and even if it's not one of the bigger serves on tour, redirecting off of 115 is not fun. It's just not.